No one man should have all that power. The clock's ticking, I just count the hours. No one man should have all that power. What's going on, everybody? Christopher here, back with another video. Thank you for watching this content. Welcome to all the new members of the CLR Nation. The only thing that I ask and appreciate is that you like these videos. Do it now. So this video right here that I made about why Germany is so popular, I had no idea how popular it really was. On top of that, I had no idea of the status that it held, not only here in the EU, but in the world. So as it turns out, Germany is a powerful little country. It might be small, but it's packing. Ladies, you know what I'm saying? So here I am. I have another video that was suggested to me by a subscriber. It's called Geography Now, Germany. From what I understand, it's supposed to give us a little insight on not only where Germany got its history, but where it got its power. So let's go ahead and take a look at this and see what's happening. All right, so here we go.
All right. Lederhosen, Schnitzel beer, Bratwurst order, bread and beer, complicated history beer, no humor, EDM, and gummy bears that will kind of like give you diarrhea, but it's like worth it. Ugh, those are such horrible stereotypes that every German is so sick and tired of hearing. Want a gummy bear?
It's time to learn geography.
Oh.
Now! Hey everyone, I'm your host Barbie. So we've conquered Belgium's castle, jumped through Denmark's lagoon, danced through France's forest, and now we've made it to the final boss of the EU, Kingpin Germany. Germany is located in central Western Europe, bordered by 9 other countries. Don't forget little Luxembourg, with small coasts on the North and Baltic seas, which they own about 50 small islands. Now, Germany, like the
Germany owns 50 small islands off the Baltic Sea? What are these islands, Germany? I didn't know there were islands that belonged to you up there.
Germany, like the US, is a federal republic which has 16 smaller states, or Bundesländer, each with its own constitution, 3 of which are cities, the capital Berlin, Hamburg, and Bremen, which is actually kind of like 2 cities, including Bremerhaven on the coast, but they kind of act like one entity. Fun side note, Lower Saxony is actually geographically situated further north than regular Saxony. The entire town of Bussingen am Hochrhein is surrounded by Switzerland, whereas part of the Konstanz is cut off by the Rhine River and surrounded by Switzerland. However, immediately across the river, a small patch of empty land on the German side actually belongs to Switzerland.
Wow. You got to stop and think about the confusion that must cause to a lot of these little areas where you can cross a border, get into another land, and then cross through that and get onto the land you left before you cross twice. Does that make any sense? That makes no sense. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Finally, they split the island of Usedom with Poland in the north. Germany is interesting because every state in the country has its own distinct culture, dialect, history, food, traditions. I mean, Bavarians will be quite drastically different from Schleswig-Holsteiners. Mecklenburg-Vorpommern will be different from Saarland. This all has to do with ancient and recent history. Basically, in the quickest way I can summarize this, Germanic tribes, Roman wars, Charlemagne, 3 kingdoms, this guy marries an Italian, creating a whole new mess called the Holy Roman Empire made up of 300 smaller separate kingdoms, states, and dukedoms, which had nothing to do with Romans. Teutonic Knights, Brandenburgs became Prussia, Habsburgs became Austrians, Lithuanians and Poles made their own thing, whereas the Hungarians joined the Austrians. Wars, battles, Napoleon comes over and messes everything up, and finally, German nationalism surges, and in 1871, Otto von Bismarck creates the first proto-German.
For the record, this is why I could never be a historian. There's just way too much going on.
Oh, and also keep in mind, like 300 years before this, a German banking company obtained colonial rights to Venezuela for like 20 years. They were looking for the lost city of El Dorado. So technically, you can kind of say Germans colonized the Americas, but it wasn't like a nationalized conquest thing. Fast forward even more, and then you get World War I, the monarchy ends, Treaty of Versailles, they lose land, Nazis come in, World War II, Germany splits in 2 for about 40 years, and then finally, we get the Germany we have today. East Germany, consisting of these states, is today still quite different from the rest of Germany as it was first occupied and influenced by the Soviet Union. They are generally not as well off economically as the rest of the country, as you can.
Is that true? Is East Germany not as well off as the rest of the country? I haven't been to East Germany yet. I do have plans, obviously, like everybody does, to visit a lot of the places in Eastern Germany. I can't wait to compare it to what I've grown to know now. But yeah, I guess when this whole mess is over and we're able to get out again, I'll be able to go do that. Maybe make some videos about it.
Country, as you can still see the blocky Soviet-style buildings sprawled throughout the regions. In fact, the city of Berlin was split in half, and the west side was actually an enclave of West Germany, only accessible by train and highway. You can even see from a satellite image the divide. East Berlin still uses the yellowish tinted sulfur vapor light bulb.
Oh wow, look at that. That's crazy. Wow, that's crazy that you can actually see the difference from the sky. But why though? Why? What difference does it make? Why would they use a different kind of light?
Light bulbs, whereas the West still uses fluorescent and mercury arc white tinted light bulbs. Now the funny thing is, although Berlin is the largest city in Germany, the busiest airports are actually Frankfurt, Munich, Dusseldorf, with Berlin Tegel ranking at number 4. Otherwise, some top notable landmarks and spots would be the Brandenburg Gate, the Valhalla, Cologne Cathedral, the Ulminster Church, the tallest in the world, the Berlin Victory Column, and hundreds of castles all over, the most notable one probably being Neuschwanstein, the concept behind Disney's Cinderella Castle. Germany also has over 400 zoos, more than any other country in the world. And of course, everybody knows about...
There's that many zoos in Germany? What are you guys doing with that many caged animals?
the Autobahn, the highway system in which if you see this sign, it means there's no speed limit. And it's like that for a huge portion of the roadway. And no wonder, considering how vast and wide those cultivated countrysides can get. Time for level 2. Okay, think of it this way. In Germany, the more down you go, the more up you move. Basically, Germany lies on the Atlantic shelf in the north that starts with the mudflats in the North Sea. Seriously, this island right here is accessible only for a few hours by foot until the tide comes and floods everything. Then everything just kind of creeps up into the Alps in the south by Bavaria and Baden-Württemberg.
I don't know. In the area I just moved from, there was tons of farmland, which is part of the reason I had to get out of there. There just wasn't enough going on. I got tired of seeing only cows and horses as my best friends and my neighbors.
By the way, kind of like Europe's Tornado Alley. Due to its position sandwiched between the Arctic blasts of Scandinavia and the moist, warm jet streams of the Mediterranean below, Germany can be an atmospheric war zone in the summer. There are more tornadoes on average in Germany than any other country in Europe. Speaking of flat...
That's crazy. Fun fact, the town that I lived in while I was stationed here had gotten a tornado while I was living in the States. And I thought that was interesting that that happened after we left. I didn't even think Germany was a tornado-prone place, but apparently...
At farmland, Germany is the world's largest rye and hop producer. Germans abso-freaking-lutely love their bread.
No, they don't. What's he talking about? Germans don't like bread. Psst, I'm starting to question this now.
Their bread. There are over 300 different kinds of bread in the country, more types than any other country in the world, and almost every meal incorporates some kind of slice or small bun or Brötchen of bread. Hast du gluten-free? Nein! Germans are heavy meat eaters, specifically in pork. They basically know every possible way to cook a pig. Over 50 different types of sausage exist alongside schnitzels, rouladen, sauerbraten, Schweinsachse, and at a big party you might find Spanferkel. Beer reigns supreme all over as the third largest consumers of beer after the Czech Republic. Even their president has no problem with public intoxication, and Austria.
Their president was falling down the stairs, from being drunk. How nice.
Germany is world-renowned for their beer, which, by the way, follows the Reinheitsgebot rule in which they are only allowed to use water, hops, malt, and sometimes yeast. Nonetheless, about 1,300 breweries exist, pumping out over 5,000 brands. The oldest continuously existing brewery in the world, started by Benedictine monks in 1040 AD, can be found here. Germany takes the environment very seriously, and for the past 2 decades has been going on a major green revolution. As of today, they have the largest installed solar power capacity and green infrastructure practices like...
Exactly. When I left in 2011, there was not half as many solar panels as I see now. When I came back in 2016, solar panels everywhere, on top of houses, on the side of the mountains, just everywhere. And I was like, what is going on? This is what's going on. And actually, it was just like this in Arizona. Since there's so much sun in the part of Arizona I'm from, there's solar panels everywhere. Why wouldn't they take advantage of that kind of natural energy? So it was good to see the same thing when I got back to Germany.
Forests dominate the southern regions where the landscape gets hillier and mountainous, the most famous one being the Black Forest or the Schwarzwald in Baden-Württemberg. Deer, bears, boar, foxes, badgers, and the national animal, the eagle, can be found thriving in these parts. Nonetheless, economically, Germany is known mostly for their exceptional engineering and industry production. Companies we've all heard of like Volkswagen, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, Audi, Telekom, Nivea, DHL, Bosch, Adidas, Puma, Adidas, Puma!
Nike. Oh, no. Okay.
Germany is without a doubt a global powerhouse. It is the strongest economy in the EU and makes up about 16% of the Union's population. It's the third largest exporter and importer of goods in the world. After the United States, Germany is also the second most popular global migration destination. Most Germans learn how to speak Hochdeutsch, or High German, which is the standard dialect. The European Charter, however, protects the minority languages of Frisian, Danish, Romani, Sorbian, which is like a Slavic-based language used along the Czech-Polish border, and Plattdeutsch, or Low German, which has similarities to Dutch and is typically used by the Amish and Mennonite communities across the world.
So you see why I have so much trouble? I've met people from different parts of Germany that all speak something different. Even my kids who are really good at German get confused when they talk to somebody that speaks a different dialect and is from a different part of Germany. So I know Hochdeutsch is the basic language. That's what I'm trying to learn right there. That's what I'm sticking to. And if I should happen to go to different parts of Germany and somebody doesn't know what I'm talking about, that's too bad, because that's what I'm trying to focus on learning right now. I can't do all these other dialects. I just don't have the brain capacity for it.
Mennonite communities across the world. In terms of regional distinctions, though, Germany is kind of divided into 5 cultural areas: Rhineland, East and Mitteldeutschland, Norddeutschland, Baden-Württemberg, and Bavaria. Rhineland is on the west side and has a culture somewhat more influenced by France, more Catholics. Carnival celebrations are huge out here. East and Middle Germany was the part that used to be its own country for 40 years, as it was influenced by the Soviets. Sorbians can also be found here too. Northern Germany has a coastal sea culture that identifies closer with Denmark and the Netherlands. They're also known for being kind of quiet and reserved. Baden-Württemberg has an interesting Swabian culture where they speak a dialect so thick that only about...
Oh gosh, what is this? Is this a celebration? It's crazy because those people off to the right corner over there are looking like, what's going on? What party did we come to? No, but I figured that's something that has something to do with their culture. So I ain't trying to disrespect. It's a little bit frightening though. Oh my, what party is this? Yo. Okay, let's go.
Then you have Bavaria, which is where the Americanized, perpetuated stereotypes about Germany came from, with lederhosen, dirndls, half-timber, beer houses, and cuckoo clocks. For the record, Germans are sick of those stereotypes. It's like saying all Americans are cowboys with guns and horses. In Germany, all children are corralled into general public schools until age 10, when they are given the option to enroll in 3 different types of middle schools: Gymnasium, geared towards focusing on higher linguistic, mathematic, and science fields for universities; Realschule, a middle ground type of school; and Hauptschule, a school that is geared towards helping kids that seem to show promise in specific vocation or trades.
Now, I always thought that was interesting to me. That's something you just don't see in the States. But I kind of felt it was a little disrespectful to some kids, because with that kind of system, it looks like some kids don't get to fulfill their dreams. Maybe some kid does have a dream that they want to fulfill that only the Hauptschule would allow them, but their grades and their whatevers don't reflect it, and they're not allowed to do it. So they have to stay back and go to like Realschule or something like that. So I think it's a good idea, but there has to be some kids that are kind of like neglected, at least how it looks on the outside looking in.
Germany also has the largest music market in the EU and the 3rd in the world after the US and Japan. They love preserving their heritage and culture through music and art. In fact, there are around 130 national orchestras, mostly supported by public money, and artists get a 50% reduction in health insurance through a special type of offer in the legal system. One thing that still kind of supposedly maintains itself in Germany is the mindset of Vergangenheitsbewältigung. Totally butchered that, which kind of translates to a lingering sense of guilt from the past. Germans have reportedly some of the lowest levels of national pride, and unless if you're at a soccer game, chances are you will almost never see anyone holding a German flag or waving it in any kind of like patriotic setting. It's kind of how things are.
You monster!
So is that out of guilt? Germans, let me know, is that out of guilt that you guys aren't as patriotic about your country? I personally don't feel it's a necessary thing in the first place, but is it out of guilt?
Nazi flags and Kampf are incredibly illegal items to own in Germany, and they even have a rule, the Volksverhetzung, which basically says you cannot talk trash by denying the past atrocities. Some people say this infringes on free speech, others say it's good because it solidifies truth.
It's something I appreciate. I think that is very, very respectful of them, and I can appreciate that. As I also said in a video before, a country that recognizes its sins and does everything it can to rectify it and get it right and fix it, number one, and the utmost respect.
Germany is to South Korea what Japan is to France. They
Nice.
love to piggyback off of each other's ideas and cultures, especially in the automotive industry. Turkey is probably the closest Middle Eastern ally, as the Turks make up the largest Asian demographic in Germany, although many of them may or may not all
30% though, that's a lot if you think about it. 30%. Yo, Germany got homies. Germany is cool with like everybody in some kind of way. So very interesting, very, very interesting. There's a lot of things that I just still have yet to find out about Germany. That's why I like these kind of videos, because I learn so much. And since I'm all lazy and stuff, it makes it better because I don't have to do all this research and stuff to kind of know a little bit. When I hear people talking like out in town or whatever they're doing, I can join in a conversation, at least a little bit. I can know a little bit of what I'm talking about. So thank you to that subscriber for recommending it. And all of that was how Germany became so powerful.